Alright, so today I have tea because I'm spilling a little bit of the tea about the publishing industry and platform building and why it is so important for you as a writer, whether or not you have a book published, especially if you don't have a book published. Why it's so important for you to start building a platform and have a platform when you start submitting to literary agents and publishing houses when you try to sell your book. So, first, I want to talk about what kind of spurned on this video. I work as a literary agent, and part of that is going through submissions. And the worst possible thing for a literary agent is to receive an amazing book. Amazing. Beautiful voice, well written, sort of thing that you're like, wow, I could just sit here and keep reading this. This could be the next literary classic. And then ask the author, okay, so what does your platform look like? And have the author respond, platform? I want the work to speak for itself, on its own merit. I don't need a platform. That is the worst possible thing that could happen when you fall in love with a book. Because, and here's the thing, on the one hand, yeah, it's great that you've spent all of your time writing. But if you actually want that book, those books, however many books you wrote, to get out into the world, you need to have something. At the very least, tell me how many friends do you have on Facebook. That counts as platform, okay? Do something. I'm sure you know people. How many friends do you have in real life? Just something. Saying that you have no platform is an instant agent or editor turnoff. And here's why. Editors and agents are looking at this from the business perspective of the publishing world, and that is the hardest part for an artist to hear and take as fact. Because as a writer, and I myself am a writer, you guys know that, as a writer, I understand this is my baby. I poured my heart and my soul and everything into this manuscript, right? And so then to have somebody say, no, we don't want you. Or at least that's what it feels like. That's what it sounds like when they say, no, we don't want your book. To have them say that is heart-wrenching because it's like, you're rejecting my child. And okay, here's the thing. There are lots of reasons that an agent or a publisher or an editor might reject your book, okay? They're not rejecting you most of the time. There's sometimes when they are, because you're creepy, or you try flattery too hard, or you don't let yourself stand for yourself. Those are some of the time that an editor or an agent might actually be rejecting you. So like saying things like, dear beautiful agent JJ Hannah, that's not gonna go over well. I don't need to hear from you that I'm beautiful. I would rather hear about your platform numbers, okay? I am far more likely to look at your book with a hopeful eye if you tell me that you can reach 10,000 people to sell it to. Because that's going to help me as I try to give it to editors and agents who are also like, yeah, I want to know who they can sell it to. Because here's the thing. The publishing industry is all gambling. Most of it is gambling. Pretty much all of it is gambling. I would say like 95%. That's totally made that up. But 95% is gambling. And editors and agents are taking a gamble on you and your skill set. And they want to make the safest bet that they can. So if they're going to put thousands of dollars into producing your book, editing your book, making it look good, putting it into places where it can sell, if they're going to spend all of that money trying to help your book get to the world, they want at least a minimal guarantee that it will, in fact, sell, which is where your platform comes in. They want to know how many books you can likely sell just because of who you already know. That is what a platform is. A platform is anybody you can reach who will buy your book. That's the goal. Okay? People that are invested in you, people that are invested in your writing, people that are invested in following you and knowing what you're doing and what you're up to and what projects you're working on now. And platform building is relationships for the masses. So, if you don't take the time to build a platform, it says that you don't care about the relationship aspect of getting a book published. It also says that you don't care enough about getting your book published to do what it takes to sell your book. Which neither of those things are things that you want a publisher or an agent to think when they read your book, when they're looking at your submission. Because even if it's a great book, but you have zero platform, somebody else with 500,000 followers is going to submit a different book, probably worse written because they didn't spend as much time on it. And that one is going to be eaten up by the editors, and there's going to be a bidding war, and people are going to be falling all over it because they have a platform to sell it. Okay? It doesn't matter if you can write well, if you can sell the book. Which is one of the hardest things about the publishing industry to wrap your mind around, because it's not how it used to be. Back in the days of the old writers that we still read today, like Mark Twain or Ernest Hemingway or Thomas Wolfe, back in those days, you could bring in your handwritten manuscript, put it on an editor's desk, and be like, "Hi, will you publish this?" You could walk into the publishing house, put it on the editor's desk, and ask them to publish it. And the editor would probably be like, "Okay, let me read it over and get back to you." And so then they would take it, read it on their way home, read it on the train, whatever, come back and give you an answer the next day. Now, you and I both know that with the digital age, that turnaround is not there anymore. It can take anywhere from 5 hours to 7 months to hear a yes or a no on, "We're going to pursue this book." Okay? When an agent submits something, it might take up to 7 months at least to hear even if they're going to reject it. Which, to a lot of people in other industries, is like, that is ridiculous. But you have to understand, editors, when they find that diamond in the rough, that is their focus. They have so many other things that they're doing behind the scenes to try to get that book through all of the levels of the publishing house so that it can get to the rewriting stage. Okay? There's like 8 different steps before they even get to the rewriting stage. And having a platform as an author, as an aspiring author, as somebody who writes, having a platform will help you get through those first 8 steps. You know? Because what happens when you submit a manuscript? Either, and here's the thing, is the editor is either going to read the whole thing or they're only going to like skip to the front page and read the first paragraph and decide if they like it. And then if they like it, they might go read the rest of the proposal. And if they really like it then, they'll go back and finish all of the chapters. And if they really like it still, then they'll request a full manuscript. And if they read the whole thing and they're like, "Yes, we can sell this. This would fill what we're looking for to sell," then they'll be in contact with the agent. They'll take it to pub board. Pub board is a meeting, essentially, of all of the uppity-ups in the publishing house. Okay? You got the financial people, you got the editors, you got the designers, you got the marketing team, you got the publicity team. All of them are there. And the acquisitions editor, who was very interested in your book, is going to then present your book. Anything you have to help, anything like that. So any marketing plan that you've already come up with, any platform you have, they're going to be like, "Here's what we're working with this author. This is why I think it would sell, and then this is how long it'll be about," right? Then the financial people will start crunching the numbers. Marketing people will be like, "Okay, we could maybe do this," and they'll start brainstorming. But if any one of those people is like, "It's too expensive, it's not worth the risk," they're gonna be like, "Sorry, but no." And then the acquisitions editor is going to come back to the agent and be like, "Sorry, after pub board we said no." And you're back at square one, back to resubmitting everywhere else. If, for example, though, the pub board was like, "Yes, I'm all for it, let's do this. Then the agent and the editor will start contract negotiations. Contract negotiations themselves, depending on the publishing house, can take 3 months at least, sometimes longer. Okay, just to get that contract in a position where it's beneficial to the author, keeps the author safe, and doesn't have any like horrible loopholes, or you're not signing away all of the rights that you thought you wanted. Like, if you want to be able to have control over the movie rights eventually, yeah, that's got to be in that contract now. So the more you know about what you want for your future of this book, for the future of this book, going into an agent-author relationship, that's better. As soon as there's interest on your book, you tell your agent, this is what I want, okay? Because otherwise, they might not know to fight for it, and then they might lose it. After the contract is signed, that's when the editing process begins. And from there, you probably have at least another year of going back and forth with the editor at the publishing house, doing rewrites, getting all of that information to them before the book is actually published. Okay, so it can take over a year and a half on the short end of the spectrum to get a book from accepted to published. Publishing is a slow business, and throughout all of that time, if you are building your numbers even more, so like if you have, say, 1,000 Twitter followers, it's a decent sized platform. So, it'll make me as an agent look at you, right? It'll make me consider you more heavily. So if you can get to 1,000, that's a very good starting point, depending on your goal. I'm talking mostly about fiction, but if you want nonfiction, you gotta get those numbers even higher, because nonfiction is a flooded market. So the more people you can reach, especially if you can reach your target audience and they're engaging with you and they care about what you post, there's the good stuff. But this is why if you go to a writer's conference, you hear them talk about platform all the time. And it's simply because as an agent or an editor, as somebody looking at the business side of publishing, more than just the art side of publishing, but looking at the business side of publishing, if you can prove at the beginning that you have a wide enough reach to get in front of people, to get your book out there, so like, especially now with the internet age, before you would have had to do like speaking gigs all the time, so you would have had to be known before you could get your book published. Again, back in the days of like Thomas Wolfe, you could just walk in, you could be a nobody, you would get your book published, and then you'd be known, right? There were also fewer books being published back then. So now in the competitive market that exists, because of self-publishing and because of all of the different houses for publishing houses to deal with, because of there's not just 5 anymore, there's like hundreds of them, which is great if you're going for traditional publishing, but it's hard because you have to stand out so much more than you used to. And the more you can get in front of people, the more people can know you, the more people can get used to seeing your face, the more you can become a household name before you get a book published, the better. Okay? And that's because from a business standpoint, it is a smart business decision to go with someone who can sell at least 1,000 books, rather than to go with someone who has really beautiful writing, but nobody knows about them. They can't market it in any way. And the chances of someone picking up that book are very slim. Okay? It's a smarter business decision to spend that money in production on creating a book that will sell at least 1,000 copies than it is to start trying to sell a book that might just flop. So that's thousands of dollars of investment in time and hours and energy into something that might just crash and burn, which has led to some interesting conflicts in the publishing industry as well, because you have this complicated thing where bad books are getting published because the writers have huge platforms, right? So that's making that is making publishers kind of reevaluate their current stance, but not enough to really rock the boat, enough to let just anybody get in, right? And here's the other thing. Building a platform will do absolutely nothing negative for you. The hardest part about building a platform is that you have to be active on it, okay? And if you're one of those people who doesn't like social media, find another way to build a platform, okay? It doesn't have to be social media, but you do need something. So whether that's speaking gigs, traveling, traveling with your sister's band and just doing a short, quick, hi, I'm a writer. Here's a poem I wrote before every concert. I don't know. But there are ways to get creative with it. You can start a blog. The hardest part is getting people to see your blog. But if you can get people to see your blog, you don't have to deal with the social media aspect of things where people can be nasty and cruel, which is the main reason a lot of people leave social media. But here's the other thing. Social media is what you make of it. So who you follow, who you talk to, who you like, who you share, all of that influences your experience on social media. Yeah, there are cruel people on Twitter, but if you avoid those cruel people and you block them and you just ignore them, they can't get to you again. And you can have one of the easiest places to build a platform right now, because hashtag writers community on Twitter is it's ridiculous. Since June, okay? And this is me as my own self trying to build a platform for my own writing as an author, okay? Because I know how important it is. Since June, I have increased my Twitter following from 1,000 to over 3,000. That's half a year. I've gained over 2,000 followers only because of Follow Fridays, where people create lists of people to follow. You go through, you follow them, they follow you back, and you find a lot of writing friends. The writing community on Twitter is ridiculous. It's amazing. And any writer who wants to have at least 1,000 people on their platform, that's the thing about platform building too, is there are so many easy ways to do it that not having one is unexcusable. It's not an option in the publishing world right now to not have a platform. And even if your book is rejected after you've built a platform, if you have a platform that is big enough, you theoretically could still self-publish your book and still sell quite a few copies because you have a big enough platform already built. So really what you're doing is you're starting relationships to be able to sell books. That's it. That is the goal of the platform. You're starting relationships with a bunch of different people so that they like you enough to spend money on you. That's it. That is the end game of platform building. But the thing is, if you go into it and you're like, hi, I wrote a book, go buy my book. It's like walking up to a stranger on the street and being like, hey, will you give me $20? And they don't know you from anyone. You have to give them something of yourself in order for them to know who it is that they're trying to get to know. The more they know you, the more likely they are to like you. And that's just the way things are in the world, okay? That's relationships 101. So if you can build relationships with the people that will be your potential readers, if you can start moving in those circles, if you can get to the point where I am with John and Hank Green, okay? John Green told me to buy Hank's book, and I was like, yeah, okay. And I bought Hank's book. I still haven't read it yet, but I bought it. I pre-ordered it, not knowing what it was about, not knowing anything other than the fact that I like John and Hank Green. Okay? That is the power of platform. Essentially, if you can get a platform with enough people who care enough about what you're creating and what you're talking about and what you're promoting, you could sell anything. And that's the trick to being a creator in today's world, okay? So, again, having no platform when you're submitting to agents and editors is unexcusable because it's so easy to build. If you can stand to be on Twitter for 5 minutes a day, you could build a platform. It's not hard. Some of my most successful tweets have been me talking about my cooking fiascos, because I'm still trying to figure out the kitchen, and apparently people think it's funny, and then they share it, and I'm like, yes, share it, and then they comment on it, and they like it, and they get to know me, okay? Platform building doesn't have to be hard, and in fact, it can be really fun. So coming up in November, one of the things that will be happening on my YouTube channel here is something that I did last year as well. Because NaNoWriMo is coming, I like to have as many of the things that I normally do off of my plate so that I can just focus on writing. So what that looks like is I'm scheduling posts, I'm filming YouTube videos like crazy, I'm preparing for November. So that when NaNoWriMo hits, I can write. But one of the things that's happening again this year is the vlog villain is coming back. So I don't know if you remember her. If you weren't, if you weren't here last year, go check out all of the vlog villain videos. There's a playlist that I'll put at the end of the video. But she's coming back to talk to you for a month, right? So every week in November, there's going to be another vlog villain video talking about villains and villainy and how to be a villain and or how to write a villain. You know, you catch what I'm dropping? Catch, you picking up what I'm putting down? As the kids these days say. So things like that is something that I do for fun. YouTubing is something I do for fun. Eventually I hope that it'll pay off, but even if it doesn't, I'm still having a ton of fun, and I'm getting my face out there, I'm getting my name out there. You guys get to see me, you get to hear me, you get to find out what I actually have to offer. You know, so like, that is the point of platform building. The point is to make relationships with people, make it fun, have fun with it. Don't like lie about who you are because you want them, you know, you don't have to act to build a platform. Just be who you are, and whoever is following you will be following you because they like you, okay? It's not hard. Post about what you want to post about. If you want to talk about D&D or Pathfinder, talk about D&D and Pathfinder. Tag them. The other D&D and Pathfinder people will come find you, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, another one has joined our ranks. Like, they'll get so excited. Talk about it. You know? You're just making friends. You're making friends with people around the world, and you just happen to be trying to make friends with 50,000 of them. It's, you know? So, like, especially in today's day and age, platform is so necessary, partially because it's so easy to have. Okay? You can count your Facebook friends. You can count the people who like your Facebook page. You can count your Twitter followers. You can count your Goodreads followers. If you're on fanfiction.net, count your fanfiction readers. Like, they already know your writing style. They like you. They're hanging on your next word, probably. So, like, count all of those people. And then, when eventually you have a book out there, it'll be so much easier for you to both sell books, which is kind of the goal for everybody, right? You want to sell books, and it'll be very helpful to get you actually into the publishing houses in the first place so that you can sell the books. Okay, this has been kind of a long rant about platform building and why it's necessary, and I didn't go into much about how to do it, but I did give you some ideas. And I know for some people, social media is the bane of their existence. That's fine. Just find another way to do it, okay? Don't let not having social media stop you from getting published, because if you want to be published, you have to prove that you want to be published. It's trust but verify, right? Like, we're gonna trust as agents and editors. We're gonna trust that you want to be published. That's why you sent the book in the first place. But we're also going to verify that you want to be published, and we're going to verify that you're willing to work to sell books. Because there's only so much we can do for you. So we're going to verify that you're going to work to sell books. And then, once you've proven that, yeah, if we like your book, we like you, and you're fun to work with, you're good to work with, you're easy to work with, we're going to do everything we can to try to help you succeed, okay? But you have to prove that you want it. That's what a platform is. You're building relationships to prove that you want it. Alright, this has been a long video, so until next time, I'll see you then. If you like these videos and you want to see more about what I'm posting about and talking about, here are my social media handles. They're all the same, so it's really easy for you. You can go follow me on the other platforms, as I have been talking about. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out to Nathaniel Fackler. He is my very first Patreon patron, and I'm very, very grateful to have him here. Thanks for joining me, Nathaniel. I'm so blessed. So blessed. We had the fun chance to talk a little bit about some of his characters and stuff in a consultation time slot. So if you are also interested in having a consultation with me, there's a link in the description down below at authorjjhanna.com to my services page where I do editing, I do writing, I do critiquing, I do better reading, and I consult. So anything that you see here that sparks questions, or that you're like, hey, I would love to talk to you about XYZ, you mentioned it briefly in this YouTube video, reach out, talk to me, and we can figure something out. I would love to help you in your writing journey. That is one of the things that I would love to do. Prices and time slots and availability are all on my website as well. So go take a look at that if you're interested in that sort of thing, or go check out my Patreon page if you want to be a patron and help me make more videos and writing and help me support my craft. Because, starving artist is a real thing, but it doesn't have to be as much of a real thing as we all like to think it is. So, if those are things that interest you, great. If you just want to hang out, great. Subscribe, like, make sure the notifications bell is turned on so that you don't miss when I post, and I will see you next week. Well, no. Next week is November. I will see you in December. The vlog villain will be here next week. Till then, bye.